Alright guys, this is my Omnibus / hardcover collectible haul for June. I didn't get as many as I got last month because last month was my birthday. And I didn't even get as many as I would normally get because two of these books were a bit more expensive. But they were so worth it. So the first one, which was a bit more expensive, SpiderMan by Roger Stern. And I'm so pleased I got this. The seller, he actually wanted to sell it to me. I made him an offer. He had it on auction. And I made him an offer that I thought was fair. And he said he had quite a few offers like that. And I showed him my omnibuses. And he said, I can see you're a real fan. I want you to have it. I was like, wicked. So yeah, I'm really pleased I got that. This is one of the thicker ones. I think it's like 1,300 pages, maybe even 14. So it's a little bit bigger than the biggest Clone Saga omnibus. And I just want to point out, this book collects Spectacular Spider-Man 43 to 61, right? That means they could very easily do an omnibus that goes right here, which is Spectacular Spider-Man 1 to 42. Most of the black spine Spider-Mans, you know, like Volume 1, Volume 2, they're all around about 42 issues. So there's absolutely no reason why we couldn't get that in the future. I mean, they're probably not planning it at the moment because they can't keep up with what they've announced already because of the coronavirus. But maybe in the future we could get a Spectacular Spider-Man Omni. Also collects Amazing Spider-Man 206 and 224 to 252. And I thought that was quite interesting because Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4 collects 105 to 142. So that if they did an omnibus between these, they would have 58 up to 200. And then maybe 20, 23, 58. That would be like 82 issues, something like that. So they could divide that into two, and Volume 5 could be about 41 issues. Volume 6 could be about 41 issues. Then they could have Spectacular Spider-Man Volume 1. Then Roger Stern. And I think that would be really, really good. Get a quick flick through. I have actually stretched the spine, but... And this is John Romita Jr. is one of my favourite artists, and this is pretty much his run as well. And this stuff is from the early 80s. So 80, 81, 82, 83 and a bit of 84. And you can tell love when they keep the letter pages in. I don't know why they don't do that on the more modern ones. That's got to be John Romita Jr. because that looks just like his dad's Peter Parker. John Romita Jr. and Jim Mooney, yeah. His art really did change for the better, I think. Don't get me wrong, I love John Romita, but I prefer Junior. And I hear this is, I haven't read this, but I hear this is where Peter kind of left high school, and this was more about when he was in university, which you Americans call college, and like doing his degree and working for Doc Connors, that sort of era. And I like when they push Peter forward a little bit like that, because sometimes he can get a bit stale, and this is one of the reasons I like the Straczynski stuff, because he wasn't just a newspaper guy. He moved forward and he became a teacher, walking the halls of Midtown High, but from a different perspective, and I liked that. There's the famous image. And it worked for Peter. It was a natural fit for him, teaching science. Let's have a look in the middle. There's a bit of gutter loss in the middle, but not too much. Ah, it's that guy again. Also very famous image. This is the variant cover for this Omni. I do love the Hobgoblin stuff. He was so good in the 90s cartoon. In fact, he was around before the Green Goblin was in the 90s cartoon. And when there was an explosion at Oscorp, and the gas melted the mask and the costume and discoloured it. And that was the Green Goblin's mask. And I like the way they tied it together and also flipped it round. Also famous. I've got the washing machine going, so if you can hear that, I'm sorry. I'll try and take it out in editing, but if you can still hear it, sorry. So yeah, Roger Stern. I'm so pleased I got that. And even though it was a bit more expensive than what I would pay for a new Omni, this book is out of print. So that's to be expected. And it wasn't, it was way less than 200. So I'm happy with that. And the next book I got, which is also out of print and hard to get. And I got this for less than 100, which I am so fucking pleased with. Amazing Spider-Man by David Michelini and Todd McFarlane. This is just the prettiest cover on any Omni I've ever seen. It's just that stark white, that kind of tealish background, and then Spidey. And this collects Amazing Spider-Man 296 to 329 and material from Spectacular Spider-Man Annual 10. And I'm really pleased I got this because last month I got this before it went out of print and out of stock. So all I need is the Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane one, and then I'll have these three books. They're like a set, these three, because it starts in here and then it goes to here, but it also goes to Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm so pleased I got this. That is just absolutely beautiful. And here's the variant cover for this Omni. I prefer the main cover, to be honest. I just think it looks nicer. I'm not going to start reading this just yet. I will once I've got the adjective-less Spider-Man Omni, so that I know I won't have to wait to get the next one. So a lot of people, when they talk about this book, they talk about 90s. And there's only 3 issues in here from the 90s. How many issues are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 21, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So out of 34 issues, 10 of them from the 90s. That's just under 10% of the book. The rest of it all came from the late 80s. 88. 89. And 3 from 1990. And I think the reason they do that is because this kind of heralded in that 90s goodness. Todd McFarlane made Spider-Man a lot more modern, a lot more upbeat, and people associate that change with the 90s. But it actually came here in the 80s. Now, there's a fair amount of black suit Spider-Man in this, because this is that kind of era. This is the cover for a trade paperback. I've seen it, there's one on eBay. Oh, that's what that book is. When I reviewed Clone Saga Volume 1, the last story is about Gwen, or a clone of Gwen and Miles Warren, and there are a load of books called Webs, which had pictures of Spider-Man on the cover, and I couldn't work out what they were, and there you go. Spider-Man in action, exclusive Daily Bugle photographs by Peter Parker. That's pretty cool. There's the Prowler, who I think everyone knows at this point. It's just like the way McFarlane drew him is such a precursor for Spawn. There's MJ doing her thing. See, McFarlane's famous for the capes and the twisty body, but I think he did more than that. His layouts are very different. There's a lot of very expressive faces, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that, and he should. That's about the middle, and it lays quite nicely. Very happy with that. Oh yeah, Venom, of course. Yeah, first appearance of Venom. I'd forgotten about that. That's before he had the tongue and he had the fangs instead. And I like how demonic he looks, but I do prefer the tongue. If I could cross McFarlane's Venom with Larson's, I think that would be the perfect Venom. I'm looking forward to read this, but like I said, I won't until I get the adjectiveless Spider-Man volume, because it's issues 1 to 14 and 16, I think, are in adjectiveless Spider-Man. And then there's issue 17 in Michelini and Larson. And this is why creator-based Omnis are bad. Just have a run off, you know, every Omni, 42 issues, something like that. And then have a mix of creators. I don't care if it's a mix of creators. I'd rather not miss issues. Even if they're crap issues, I'd still rather not miss them. You can tell there, by the eye, that this side is Larson, and this side is McFarlane. It's got their signatures, but you can tell just by the eye alone. McFarlane's Spider-Man eyes, they were more like the Scarlet Spiders. See there? That's the cover of Spider-Man vs. Venom Omnibus. That's a ridiculous cape, which I don't care. It looks fucking awesome. You can tell that McFarlane has a certain style, not just in the way he draws textures and stuff like that. But if you look at Hulk and Hobgoblin, they're standing in almost exactly the same position. Slightly hunched over. This arm slightly bent and coming across towards the knee. This hand sticking out a bit more forward towards the camera. So he definitely had his style. And these are the two covers, the main cover and the variant cover. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased I got that. Now I have one final book, although this one isn't an omnibus, it's not Marvel, it's not DC. Transformers, the IDW collection, Phase 1, Volume 3. I'm glad I got this, because I've only got one left to get, which is Volume 5, which I have ordered. I did get it this month, and technically it should be in this month's haul, but it's shipping from America, so I'll just include it in next month's haul. Oh, it's pretty good. This one's got Spotlights, Galvatron Blaster, RC, Grimlock and Wheelie. It's got the New Avengers Transformers Man and Machine story, which is, I'm not keen on that crossover. I've not read it, but I just don't like the idea of Avengers. It's like the Justice League and Power Rangers. They're different things. Fuck off. But then again, if it's just an out-of-universe story, then fine, I'll allow it. And then there's Devastation. Devastation continues the main story in the comics. And I think that's a bit of a problem with these books. While everything adds to the story, Wolverine looks pretty cool there. Because they include the spotlights, it can quite often be that you'll only get... He just looks fucking stupid there. It can quite often be that you'll only get one main story in a volume of Transformers, and the rest will be like one-shot stories, which I understand, and I'm glad they're included. But it would... I don't know, I sometimes when you want to sink your teeth into something, and then you get a load of one-shots instead, it gets annoying. This one's got the Dinobots in it, but it's not the main Dinobot story. Maximum Dinobots is in Volume 4. But as someone who grew up watching Beast Wars and Beast Machines, I am always happy to see the Dinobots or the Decepticons Predacons, whatever, make an appearance. Not Decepticons, are they? The Decepticons became the Predacons. That's wicked. I'm looking forward to getting through these. So, that is my haul for June, even though it's missing one, but I'll include that in July's. Next month, I'm really looking forward to getting what I'm getting, because this gap is going to be filled, and so is this gap. So I'm going to have a nice, perfect set of shelves. And then, of course, August will come around, and then it will be imperfect again. But Thomas Judge suggested that I do a shelf layout video, so I might do that, since next month I will have perfect shelves, and then it will probably be like another year before I have perfect shelves again. So that was my haul for June 2020. I hope you enjoyed it.